All right. So obviously we decided to go to virtual. We don't have Rachel Gabrielle, our health professional, on the call today, but we're all reading in the papers and such and seeing on the news that numbers here in Wisconsin and certainly nationwide are not headed in the right direction. Alerts coming out from governor and other leaders in the state that extra care needs to be taken. So I think we all need to do our part, especially with absolutely non-essential gatherings. My thought is with Thanksgiving coming up, we have this week and next week. Certainly we'll do remotely via Zoom. Kind of take a look at it the week of Thanksgiving and make a determination whether it makes sense to get back together beginning of December or possibly go through the end of the year and try to start again in the new year in person, but plan on continuing to have Zoom meetings. Now, I mean, we've had, I got Matt waiting to get in here. As a people, as a society, we've obviously had good news this week. I mean, I follow business and news closely, as I'm sure all of us who are trying to get through this time are. And maybe there's some positive news with regards to vaccine for next April, May, where in mass we will be able to get vaccinated. And I saw something this morning, and I just saw from a reputable source that somebody said that perhaps this is a one-time vaccine, like polio or something like that, where we just get it once as opposed to the seasonal flu, and every year we've got to go in and get a new vaccine. So I'm sure that's preliminary assessment there, but hopefully next April, May, if not sooner, hopefully not too much later, we have the ability to become vaccinated, and by summer, maybe life will be back to normal. But I'm thinking we're a little optimistic if we think life is going to get fully back to normal before March, April. And, that kind of leads into one of our big projects that we've had, and that's to try to put on a John McGivern show at the Performing Arts Center. Something the board, we will be, our board, who's meeting next Wednesday night via Zoom, is going to be talking about is how to proceed with that, because now it's 4 months away is when our rescheduled March 13th date is. Oh, we got two more trying to get in. Let me admit them. Maybe Tom Hurlington has some profound thoughts. We'll see. So with regards to McGivern, March, at this point, it does not look like we're going to be able to fit 750 people in the Performing Arts Center on March 13th, 4 months from now. I mean, I attended the One Acts this last weekend, and whatever, we had 100 people in there and socially distanced and everything else. So we'll talk about that as a board. Whether it makes sense to cancel it and try to reschedule or possibly postpone to the fall when hopefully we're all of us, the majority of us are vaccinated and we're not wearing masks anymore. But we'll look at that. Tom Hurlington, I see you connected in. I don't see you yet. I came up with the best option I had for profound thoughts. Did you have anything prepared that you were dying to convey to us?
It's probably muted.
All right, probably muted. Okay. So
It's make off.
in the meantime, we've talked about this the last few weeks. We continue on trying to have as much impact as we can on the community and keep our, fundraising obviously is a little bit challenged. Thankfully, we had that one fundraiser during Fall Fest, but fundraising obviously is a little challenged, but we do have resources, thankfully. And we're continuing to look at how we can make an impact in the community even during this time. And that includes the performances that are planned for next summer at Indian Head Park, 4 of them in the village, obviously, depending on what the virus situation is and such. But right now they're planning to go ahead. I think the first one's in June. We're planning on having a fundraiser and be part of that, plus also contribute funds to help pay for the temporary performance stage that will be used during that event. So that's ongoing. And of course, we are moving ahead with funding for what would end up being 100, maybe 150 trees to be planted as part of the village replenishment program with planting trees. around the village and have a lasting impact on the community in that way. And certainly if anybody has, ideas, causes that we can support, things that we can become part of, the great ideas definitely don't come from me or the board, but anybody in the club with regards to things that we can potentially get involved in and make a difference and go forward from there. In terms of, I saw an email yesterday. I have not clicked into it, but it looks like Rotary is doing a Rotary member census and a questionnaire. So if you see that and you have time to fill that out, I think they're getting some ideas on who Rotarians are and things like that. So if you see that come through in your email, see if you can take 10 minutes or so and fill that out. I'm not sure they're tracking it by club or anything in terms of responses, but obviously as many of the 1.2 million Rotarians around the world complete that, that'd be better for Rotary overall. So at this point, Mark Blodgett, did you want to take a few minutes if it makes sense to for what you wanted to cover?
Sure. Thanks, Jim. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be back with the living after a little bit of a hiatus. But
oh yeah, give us a little bit how it was. What was your experience like? Your unfortunate experience like with?
Well, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. It was for about 10 days. It was going from either the bed or the couch to the bathroom, and so it was unlike the flu. Let me tell you that. It was much worse. But myself, my wife, and by the way, it appears I am Mr. Phyllis Blodgett this morning.
Right.
My wife, she's on Zoom with her Elmbrook Rotary Club. But it's we're all well, we're all better. Did not have to go to the hospital. We drove down to South Padre with my daughter and her husband, and we caught it down there, probably at a restaurant. And kind of on the way back, the cough and the chills and the headache started to take place. And so, like I said, for about 10 days, it was a long 10 days, but we're all better. And thank you, Jim, for the card and for those people that were able to sign it. So, yeah, that's about it. Anyway, about a month ago, I was able to thank the club's board of directors for the work during last year, and I also had the honor of awarding 3 of our members the Paul Harris Fellowship. Doug Yeager with his first Paul Harris pin, and Jim Cotterone and Ken Kurt each with their Paul Harris pin +1. I'll tell you a little bit about the Paul Harris Fellowship program. That it recognizes individuals who contribute and or who have contributions made in their name of $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. Personal contribution of $1,000, and the subsequent recognition of a Paul Harris Fellow is encouraged of all Rotarians. It's a donation to the Rotary Foundation, Rotary's own charity, and therefore every Rotarian's own charity. It's because of such gifts that the Rotary Foundation can carry out a number of programs that achieve nice changes in our world, such as improved living conditions, increased food production, better education, wider availability of treatment and rehab for the sick and disabled, new channels for the flow of international understanding, and hopefully brighter prospects for peace. So today it's my pleasure to award Greg Gerasimowicz and John Beauchamp with their Paul Harris pin and certificate. I'm sorry I'm not able to give it to you personally, but gentlemen, I will make sure to get your pin and certificate to you. One other Paul Harris award that I'm privileged to give out is a Paul Harris Fellowship +7 pin. And what that means is that 8 times a $1,000 donation has been given to the Rotary Foundation. We celebrate each of the milestones for additional contributions and what they represent. Again, each gift to the Rotary Foundation is an opportunity to do even more good in the world through the foundation. So it is my pleasure to award the Paul Harris Fellowship Pin +7 to our past club president, our past district governor. He is our district's current insurance chair. And if you haven't guessed it with that last title, he's also our district's current water and sanitation chairperson. And I am privileged to say a good friend, Rick Deeby. So Rick, congratulations. And I will get your Paul Harris Pin +7. You can just hear the applause going on all over the world. And I will get that to you ASAP. And also thanks to all Rotarians for their past contributions to the Rotary Foundation and to their continued giving. I still need to recognize and honor those Mukwonago Rotarians who, by virtue of their leadership, have served in other important aspects to the club, and we will be sure to honor them during an upcoming meeting, COVID willing.
Yeah.
So, Jim, I just have one other quick announcement, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
And that is Amber Ehrman. She's the employability coach at Norris School District. She also happens to be a 1999 graduate of Mukwonago High School. Anyway, her and I have been talking, and she would like to connect their learners with career pathways. So she's currently looking for presenters in areas of computer technology, marketing / graphic design, and counseling, mental health, and personal care services. Presentations would take place. She's looking at this upcoming December, January, and February. Presentation can be in person, off campus, or virtual. So what I told her I would do, I would go ahead and I would forward her email to all the club members. And if you have expertise in any of those areas or know of someone, you could please contact Amber personally via this email, and that would be good. So if you have any questions, again, contact Amber. I will get you that information via email. So thank you.
All right, great. Thanks for that, Mark. In terms of upcoming speakers, we're going to continue on with our Teacher of the Month program, something that's vital to what we do. Next week, I guess we're going to see Andrea again. Clarendon, my understanding is it's set up and we will be on Zoom, and we'll connect via Zoom there. And then we're not going to have a meeting on Thanksgiving. I hope everybody is able to get together with their own family. And I think that's a concern of health professionals, is that families as a unit are going to pack 30 people into a house and enjoy Thanksgiving. And we're going to see numbers increase in schools and everything else after that. But hopefully more people make good decisions than bad decisions. And then the week after, we have rescheduled. Hopefully she's available. Diana Dykstra, the Village of Mukwonago clerk, with clerks and election officials and everything else in the limelight here in the last couple of weeks. Be interesting to see her perspective on what she does for the village, and how, from her apolitical standpoint, how things went in the village with regards to the election and such. So. And then I had to look at December 10th and beyond. I have to look and see what we have on the calendar there. Sean, I know I was talking to Rachel when we were the first two on here. Obviously, as of Tuesday, section looked really good. Rolling Hills had higher numbers, and things changed day to day. I look at the graphs for the school district, and obviously they're headed up like the whole state and county is. Obviously, just taking it day by day. I know the high school's out. I know it's, obviously I have a vested interest with my kids, and you're talking to administrators, but obviously just day by day and figuring out how best to keep school in session.
So it is definitely day by day. I will not lie to you, it is a challenge. We do have a number of students out that are positive. Number is increasing. We have a number of students that are in quarantine. That number is increasing. And what is really vexing is our staff. We have so many staff members that are out either positive themselves or many more are in quarantine, not so much due to any activity at school, but more from the home and community. So that is our challenge right now, but we're doing our best. We do believe we are planning on bringing our high school students back next Monday. And so that is the plan at this moment. We'll continue to review our data. But if I may, Jim, I have to drop off the call at 7:45 because I have a meeting with our legal counsel regarding an issue we're dealing with.
Okay.
I know it's one day late, but I did want to say Happy Veterans Day to you and to others. I know a number of you have served and a number of you have children that are in the military or have been. But I also wanted to mention our guest today, and thank you, Janine, for joining us. But Janine's husband, Russ, is a veteran, and I don't know if he's there, Janine. Please tell him I said good morning and Happy Veterans Day to him.
Will do. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks. Thanks, Jim.
All right. I was just had a quick question, Sean. Are you still on?
Yep.
Okay, so obviously a lot of cases, obviously there's lots of hospitalizations. Are you aware of any student or staff member who ended up needing to go in the hospital and really was in really bad shape or?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, okay.
We have had some staff that have been hospitalized,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right.
And so I think it is our biggest challenge. We know that it's in the best interest of our students to be in school, but it's definitely not in the best interest of all of our staff to be in school face to face. And that's a struggle that we find ourselves in each and every day. So we're doing our best. It's just no good, simple solution. If there was one, we'd be doing it. But
all right. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, so let's move on to our main event here, our speaker. And Andrea, you gonna please say a few words and introduce Janine if you could?
Yes, my sweet Janine. Everybody, this is Janine Cooley, and I like to refer to her as the secret food ninja at Clarendon because she sneaks in and out, her and her posse, and sometimes you forget they're there because they're pretty sneaky. And so Janine, as some of you may know or may not, was a longtime teacher at Clarendon Avenue for Mukwonago Area School District. And I think 4th grade, Janine, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct. 4th grade, which is a pretty cool age. It's, that halfway point between little and big. So Janine was at Clarendon Avenue, and her husband, Russ, also was a teacher in the district, high school, if I'm not mistaken. And they had 2 sons that came through our school district. And when Sean asked for speakers, Janine, for her small little posse, the Backpack Club, they're small, but they're mighty, and they make a huge impact at Clarendon Avenue year after year. And so I thought it would be nice for you guys to see and hear from Janine about how she impacts our community in a positive way, similar to the way we do as Rotarians. So Janine Cooley, thank you for coming. And if you want to talk to the club about your Backpack Club, we would greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrea, and thank you for that nice introduction. I appreciate being able to share the backpack program with all of you. The backpack program is starting its 10th year at Clarendon Avenue School, and it started because we saw a need that families who would normally be going to food pantries, our 2 food pantries, were not able to go to the food pantries during the weekends to get any kind of food. And so we started the program so those families could have some food also during the weekends. The backpack, like Andrea said, we do kind of sneak in and out because we want to be discreet about it. But we pack a backpack full of food, and we either come in on Thursday after school or Friday morning by 7 before any students or staff get there to put these bags in the lockers. We help each year anywhere between 3 and 15 families. One year we had 3 and another year we had 15. This year we have 9 families that we are helping with 43 people that we are helping for food. The backpacks themselves usually contains a main meal, and the main meal could be spaghetti, it could be cans of stew, it could be soup, it could be a tuna helper with tuna, cans of chicken, and we even put in sometimes a recipe so they could make a casserole. It always includes the vegetables. It includes breakfast items from pancake mixes to oatmeal to breakfast bars even, and then fruit cups and nutrition bars. And one year there was a little girl, when I was subbing, said to me, I said to her, well, is there anything that you'd like to see in this bag? And she said, yes, Mrs. Cooley, I'd really like to have some cuties in there. So we now take every once in a while and put some little cutie oranges in, or apples. We're limited because if a child is absent on Friday, the bag will sit in the locker until Monday. And so we can't put anything that needs refrigeration. So that's the drawback in all of this. But and then at Thanksgiving, we give them the fixings for a Thanksgiving dinner, except the turkey, again, because of being in the locker. At Christmas, we give out a gift card for Pick and Save. But then at Easter, we do give them a ham, 10 pounds of potatoes, rolls, vegetables, and they either the parent comes to the church to pick those up, or we deliver on Easter. In what we usually do is that we ask, in the past, we put out little cards and in the entrance to the church. And so a church member would pick up a card and maybe it would say 4 cans of vegetables, or the week we're doing oatmeal, well, maybe three boxes of oatmeal. And so they pick up the cards, they'll bring the food back to church, and then we pack the bags, and we have a regular team that goes out and delivers. Well, this year with the pandemic, we're not really able to do that. We have like 50% Zoom and 50% in person right now with church. So we've been purchasing about 95% of the food this year. And I've been putting out in our church newsletter saying, well, we need this if you can, bring anything for us. We have 9 families this year and 43 people that we're servicing. We continue to help during the pandemic this summer, which usually our program runs from once the families get their application. It usually goes from the beginning of October through the end of school. And there were most of our families this past summer said, we'd really like to be able to continue with receiving food. So we did do that. And because of the pandemic, I know Andrea and I talked about using those backpacks, and I said, what do you think about the idea of plastic bags? So now we double bag the food, put a tag on the outside. In the past, we were trying to be discreet. We gave them that backpack, and all it had on the backpack was a locker number. So we would just set it in the student's locker. But now we're using plastic bags, and we put it right in the locker. So there's never any names. And these families are all families that have qualified for free and reduced lunches within the school district's recommendations. So the families, are hopefully we're making a difference, like Andrea said, in their lives. We've really appreciated all the work that Clarendon's be able to say, it's okay if we be that posse and come in and we can do it discreetly, kind of a thing. But we have people that deliver, people that pack. This year we have one lady who's purchasing all of the groceries for us. So, with those 2 food pantries not available, that's how we started. And we're providing food, and we figured in the past we've probably given food to anywhere from 75 to 80 families over the last 10 years. So we continue to do and help out those families the best that we can. So thank you for for letting me share this with all of you. And if you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
So you said you're supporting 9 families and they qualify for free and reduced lunch. Does that mean there's only 9 families getting free and reduced lunch in Clarendon? Or how are those 9 identified out of all the ones who are?
Good question. What we do at the beginning of the year, we send a letter out to all of the free and reduced lunch families. And then they fill out the application. And there were 9 families that did that.
Oh, okay, so they have to ask,
So-
they have to ask for the support or say that, yeah.
Yes.
And
They-
then
and-
if during the year, if there's a family and we know about it, Andrea or guidance counselor will tell us, say, we really need this family to get some food. So we take them in. I don't think we've ever said no to any family.
Never. Janine has never said no to a family, at least in the 4.5 years I've been at Clarendon. And I would say her program impacts the children in lots of positive ways. Our attendance for these kiddos has gone up on Fridays because they want to come to school and they want to make sure they take their food home over the weekend. And that's huge. Families depend on this weekend meal. And so what we see is families that are in the Backpack Club, their attendances rate goes up, especially on Fridays. Also, they come back on Monday. Usually it used to be in the past so they could bring the backpack so it could get refilled. So we're upping attendance rates on Mondays and Fridays, which typically are bad days sometimes for families in poverty for many different reasons. Also, our kids, it's just something, a way that they can positively impact their family. They feel important coming home with these backpacks and they can provide for their parents who are having a hard time providing. And so they feel like they're contributing. So their self-esteem does go up, where a lot of times you'll see kiddos in poverty, their self-esteem is low because of their situation. And so our backpack club is very precious to us. And but I thought maybe, if there is a way with Janine's church is having a hard time supplying food, if I don't know, we can get them on the rotation, how we give to Mount Olive's cupboard, we give to the McGuanago pantry. Maybe we could get Janine's backpack club on our rotation to help. That would be awesome. It would impact, 9 families for a total of 43 people being fed. It's a lot of food, and any help we could give, I think that's a great way for the Rotary to still impact our community in a small way.
Explain the rotation, Andrea, you mentioned, or Janine, that you just said, the rotation of the families, or is that the supplying of the food, or
I know Greg does a lot of times, he'll send out his emails and it depends on which pantry we're giving to for that week. I know we've given to, I think it's the cupboard at Mount Olive. We've given
Cupboard
to
and the McGuanago.
food. So I thought maybe if we could, rotate Janine's group in at some point and collect for her group one week, that would help those 43 people have a meal, and it would help her church not have to take out of their budget to pay for the backpack club.
Right. So Janine, the funding for this over the last 10 years has come from the giving of items by church members and the church to take out of their funds to donate to the program?
Most of our funds have come from just people donating the items. And because or they've often given cash. And so we had a reserve of cash also. And so with now purchasing most of our groceries, that's going down. We have asked our church, in our budget, our church budget, we have a benevolent fund, and which goes to a variety of mission types of projects. So we've asked about that, and we get about $800 for that during the course of the entire year of what we get some finances from them.
Not that it really matters, but what church is supporting this?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the First Congregational Church here in McQuanago, and that's why we're doing Clarendon, because we're a church that's in town, and so that's why we went to Clarendon to host this. When we first started the program, we did ask other churches in the community if they would like to be part of the program, so we could reach out to other schools, but it was kind of left to say, hey, how about the First Congregational Church doing it? So we've been the ones that have picked it up.
Obviously, if letters went out to all the families and all the other 5 elementary schools, you could expand it, but there's workload and funding and everything else. That's right. So you do as much as you can, which is important.
Volunteers, I think, are as much of a problem as anything. Is that not correct, Janine?
Well, we have, I guess I know what you mean for sure, Greg, but we have volunteers who purchase and we have volunteers who deliver. We had a little bit of a struggle this year getting some people who would like to come into the school because of the pandemic and drop it off and put it into the lockers. But, you know, a few of us do more than 1 week delivery, so it works out okay.
And we have them deliver, like I said, for just to be discreet for the kids.
Mhm.
They deliver when children aren't in the building, and I would say we're at our cleanest, which is, I think, safe for the volunteers. So, I mean, safer than when there's 500 kids running around.
And so right now, every single Friday when there's school, 9 families are pretty much getting similar, if not the same thing, put in the locker every Friday.
Yes, and then one of our families has 10 in the family, so we always put extra food in that pack for them because there's 10 in the family.
Wow, nice. That is called grassroots right there.
That is grassroots, and I thought you guys would find it interesting that we have this little help at my school that we cherish.
Okay, yeah, well, we'll talk about that at the
Sure.
the board meeting, and it's good effort, a lot of work, but I'm sure it provides a lot of satisfaction as well and reward, which
Well, thank you, Janine, so
Sure.
much
Thank
for
you.
speaking today. I appreciate you.
Thank you, and thank you for asking me. I appreciate being able to do that. We'll continue our work, Andrea.
So Janine, I mean, obviously we're not together for me to give you a little pad with a rotary on it or what, but I will say that for speakers in the past couple of years, you know, we are talking about vaccination due to coronavirus, but what's near and dear to Rotarians' heart also for the last 35 years is the vaccination against polio, which is pretty much almost eradicated from the world, except for Pakistan and Afghanistan. But in gratitude for your message, we are going to donate funds to Rotary International for 25 children in the world to be inoculated against polio in your honor. And, you know, so we appreciate you, everything you're doing for those families and for being with us this morning and taking the time.
Thank you for the donation.
Anybody else have, so appreciate it. Anything else anybody'd like to bring up? I will send out an email this coming weekend about next week's. And for those of us that are on this meeting that are on the board, we'll meet next Wednesday evening via Zoom. I'll send out an agenda and things like that. Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up before we close out for the day?
Jim, if I could speak with you after the meeting's over, I just want to talk with you for a minute.
Uh-oh, what did I do?
Nothing. It's
All
not.
right.
It's not bad news.
All right, good. So I'll stay on, Greg, and people can drop off, and we'll talk. All right. So otherwise, you know, we Rotarians say the four-way pledge. So as we leave this meeting and go back out into the world of life and work, of the things that we think, say, and do, let us remember to ask ourselves: first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? I'm glad I have that memorized. Otherwise, I would look stupid. All right. Thanks, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll be in touch. See you next
Bye, everybody. Thanks, Janine.
Long. Bye.